Welcome back to Wittenberg Academy's Elementary Latin 2 course. We are in the book Minimus Secundus. This is the second part of Chapter 1, which is on pages 10 and 11. We're going to begin at the top of page 11 with the vocabulary words. Some nouns. Unchili, unchili are slave girls. Laridum, laridum is lard. Ligna, ligna is logs or wood. Rogum, rogum is a bonfire. Silices, silices are flints. Silvam, silvam is the forest or the woods. Tabulas, tabulas, writing tablets. And some verbs. Ardit, it burns, ardit. Colligita, colligita, collect. Current, current, they run. Facimus, facimus, we do or are doing. Fundant, fundant, they pour. Jactant, jactant, they throw. Nescio, nescio, I don't know. Terrent, terrent, they rub. Truncant, truncant, they cut. A pronoun, hoc, means this, hoc, and an adjective, calidum, calidum means hot. Alright, now let's read our little comic lesson on page 10. After the parade, Flavius gives the soldiers some surprising orders. Milites, ligna milite, ligna colligita, ligna colligita. Soldiers cut wood. Milites in silvam current. Milites in silvam current. In Latin, when we translate, first look for the verb. That's at the end. Current, they are running. Who's doing the running? Milites. The soldiers are running into the wood. Milites ligna truncant. Milites ligna truncant. And truncant is our verb, means they cut, so the soldiers cut logs. Milites rogum construnt. Milites rogum construnt. Can you guess what construnt means? Right? They construct, the soldiers construct a bonfire. And the one soldier says, Cur hoc facimus. Cur hoc facimus. Cur, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? The other soldier says, Nescio. I don't know. Tu milites tabulus in rogum jactant. Tu milites tabulas in rogum jactant. Then the soldiers jactant, they throw. What do they throw? Tabulas, writing tablets, in rogum, onto the bonfire. Anchili laridum calidum portant et in rogum fundant. Anchili laridum calidum portant et in rogum fundant. So the slave girls, anchili, what do? Portant, they carry. Laridum calidum, hot lard. Et in rogum fundant. And they pour it onto the bonfire. Milites silices terrent. Milites silices terrent. The soldiers terrent, they rub silices, flints. Subito rogus ardet et tabulae ardent. Subito rogus ardet et tabulae ardent. Suddenly, rogus ardet, suddenly the bonfire burns, et tabulae ardent, and the writing tablets burn. Omnes flammas spectant. Omnes flammas spectant. They all spectant, they all watch the flammas, the flames. Rufus ad rogum appropinquat. Rufus ad rogum appropinquat. Rufus appropinquat draws near to the fire. And his nanny says, Rufa, nole tangere, huc veni. Rufa, nole tangere, huc veni. Rufus, noli tangere, means don't touch. Huc veni means come here. Rufus lacrimant. Rufus cries. Oh, what a baby. Don't cry. Rufus cries. Alright, grasp the grammar. A noun is the name of a person, a place, or a thing. Names of people and places are called proper nouns. They always have a capital letter in English, both in Latin and in English. For example, Pandora, Rufus, Windolanda. All other words in Latin begin with a small letter. Nouns can do different jobs in a sentence. The person or thing doing the action is called the subject of the sentence. The person or thing having the action done to them is called the object. In Latin, nouns that are the object of a sentence have different endings. So, look at these two sentences. Rogus ardit. The bonfire is burning. Now, in sentence B, milites rogum construunt. The soldiers build a bonfire. In sentence A, the bonfire is the subject. In sentence B, it's the object. So it changes from rogus to rogum. Now we do this in English as well. For example, you can say I have a cat, but you can't say me have a cat. Why? Because I is for the subject and me is for the object. So it's the same in Latin, except that in English we pretty much only do that now with pronouns. He, him, I, me, and so forth. In Latin, every noun is going to have these endings that tell you, is it the subject? Is it the direct object? Is it the indirect object? And many other things, which we'll get to throughout the course. Copy out these sentences and translate them into English. Then, underline the verb, both in English and in Latin. Finally, put an S over the subject and an O over the object. The first one is done for you. So, Pandora Rufum vocat. Pandora calls Rufus. So now in each sentence, the verb you underline, you put an S over the subject, so Pandora is the one who's calling, and Rufus is the one who is called, and so that's for the object. Okay. So far, the object is going to have a characteristic ending in or or am or as. We'll learn the full form of how that goes. But for right now, simply pause the tape, try to do sentences 2 through 7, then start the tape back up, and we'll correct those together. Alright, sentence 2. Lepidina pompum spectat. Lepidina looks at the parade. The verb is spectat. Lepidina is the subject. Pompum, the parade, is the object. Sentence 3. Minimus clamorum audit. Minimus clamorum audit. Minimus hears a noise. The verb is audit. The subject is minimus. The object is clamorum, a noise. Sentence 4. Julius rem explicat. Julius rem explicat. The verb is explicat. Julius is the subject, and rem, the thing, is the object. Julius explains the matter. Sentence 5. Vibrissa minimum spectat. Vibrissa minimum spectat. Vibrissa looks at minimus. The verb spectat, the subject is vibrissa, the object is minimum. Sentence 6. Omnes flammas spectant. Omnes flammas spectant. They all look at the flames. They all look at the flames. The verb is spectant. The subject is omnes. The object is flammas. And 7. Milites tabulas jactant. Milites tabulas jactant. The soldiers toss the tablets. The soldiers toss the tablets. The verb is jactant. They toss. The subject is milites. And the object is tabulas. If you had a hard time with that, don't worry. As we begin to learn this in a more systematic way, we'll learn more about the nouns, and all this will come together. In this chapter, we're really just kind of getting an introduction to it, getting a feel for it. The most important thing you can do at this point is learn your vocabulary words and learn the paradigm forms we learned in the first half of chapter 1. If you totally bombed this exercise, don't get worried. We're going to continue to build one piece at a time. This was just a little introduction. Please don't worry about that. Spend your time this week studying all those vocabulary words and all the paradigms we learned in the first half of the chapter. And for the rest of this, you can read the story of Bellerophon on page 12 for a little enjoyment. That does it for chapter 1.